Imagine for a moment the most protected man in history, a man who receives direct communication from the heavens, a man whose heart was physically washed by angels. You would assume such a man is untouchable, impervious to the dark arts that plague ordinary people. But the history books reveal a shocking exception. There was a moment in Medina where the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, fell ill. It wasn't a fever, and it wasn't a virus. It was a psychological grip so tight that he began to imagine he had done things, intimate things, daily tasks, that he actually had not done. He was under a spell. And the perpetrator wasn't a devastating army or a loud political rival. It was a shadow. A man named Labid ibn al-Asam. Who was this man? How did he manage to breach the spiritual fortress of the Prophet? And why, when the spell was finally broken, did the Prophet refuse to take revenge? Today we are opening the cold case file on one of the most mysterious and debated incidents in Islamic history, the Incident of Sihr. First, we have to address the villain. If you try to find a biography of Labid ibn al-Asam, you will hit a wall. Unlike the famous companions or the infamous warlords of Quraysh, we don't have a birth date for him. We don't even have a confirmed death date. He appears in history for this one massive climb and then vanishes. So, what do we actually know with high confidence? We turn to the Sahih collections, Bukhari and Muslim. These sources identify him explicitly. He is Labid ibn al-Asam. Sahih Muslim describes him as a Jew from the tribe of Banu Zurayq. However, Sahih Al-Bukhari adds a fascinating nuance, describing him as an ally of the Jews, and in some narrations, a hypocrite, someone pretending to be Muslim while harboring hatred. The takeaway here is that he was an insider-outsider. He walked the streets of Medina, he was connected to a local tribe, and he had access. And please, a quick warning for the history buffs. Do not confuse him with Labid ibn Rabi'ah. That was a famous poet and a noble companion who died much later. Our subject today is a different man entirely, a man of shadows. Now, let's look at the crime scene. How do you cast a spell on a prophet? You need biology. You need a piece of the victim. According to the most authentic narrations in Bukhari and Muslim, Labid didn't need much. He managed to acquire 3 things: a comb, the hair that was stuck to the comb, and the spathe of a male date palm. If you don't know what a spathe is, it's the pollen sheath, the casing that holds the pollen of the date palm. It's a very specific organic object found in the agricultural environment of Medina. Labid took these items, the hair and the comb, and he bound them. He placed this bundle inside the pollen sheath, but he didn't leave it in his house. He needed a place where no one would ever look. He went to a well on the outskirts of Medina. The Sahih texts name it, the Well of Dharwān. Interestingly, even the name of this well was a matter of debate among early scholars. Some narrations call it Dharwān, others the Arwān. This variance actually adds to the authenticity. It shows that narrators were trying to preserve the exact name of a real physical location, not just a fairy tale setting. He took the cursed object, placed it under a rock inside this well, and left it there to rot. What happened next is often misunderstood. The Prophet began to suffer. Reports differ on how long this lasted. Some historical sources suggest 40 days, others suggest up to 6 months. We don't have a locked-in duration from the core texts, but we know it was a significant period of distress. It is crucial to note what the spell did not do. The scholars are unanimous that it did not affect his prophethood. It didn't make him forget verses of the Quran or change the laws of Islam. God protected the message. Instead, the attack was on the man. The narrations state he would imagine he had visited his wives or done household tasks when he hadn't. It was a state of confusion, a heaviness of the mind and body. The cure didn't come from medicine, it came from revelation. The Prophet told Aisha, may Allah be pleased with her, that Allah had given him the verdict. In a dream, 2 angels appeared to him, one sitting at his head, the other at his feet. They discussed his condition as if he were a third party. What is wrong with this man? One asked. He is bewitched, the other replied. Who did it? Labid ibn al-Asam. With what? A comb, hair, and a male date palm spathe. Where is it? In the Well of Dharwān. The diagnosis was complete. Now they needed the extraction. The Prophet didn't go alone. He took a group of companions to the Well of Dharwān. When they arrived, the scene was eerie. The Prophet looked into the well and described it to Aisha later with vivid, almost horror-like imagery. He said the water was infused with henna, meaning it was dark, reddish, and murky. He looked at the date palms surrounding the well and described their tops as looking like the heads of devils. The atmosphere was thick with evil. They located the rock. They retrieved the spathe. They took out the comb and the hair. And just like that, the narration in Sunan al-Nasa'i describes the feeling. The Prophet recovered as if he was released from bonds. The mental fog lifted instantly. The heaviness vanished. Now, what I've just told you is the Sahih core, the facts we can stand on with 100% confidence. But if you read the history books, the Tabaqat of Ibn Sa'd, or the Tafsir literature, you get the director's cut. These are details that fill in the plot holes, but come from sources that historians treat with a bit more caution. First, the motive and the payment. One historical report tells us that this wasn't a solo act. It claims that after the Treaty of Hudaybiyah, leaders of opposing factions approached Labid. They knew he was an ally of Banu Zurayq and was rumoured to be a master of magic and poisons. They allegedly paid him 3 gold dinars to cripple the Prophet. Next, the accomplice. Another popular detail found in Tafsir explains how Labid got the hair. He didn't break into the Prophet's house. The reports suggest he used a servant boy, a young Jewish boy who served the Prophet's household. Labid charmed or bribed the boy into stealing the comb teeth and hair from the Prophet's personal items. And perhaps the most famous detail involves the Quran itself. You know Surah Al-Falaq and Surah An-Nas, the 2 surahs of protection? Many commentaries link their revelation specifically to this moment. The story goes that inside the spathe, the hair was tied into 11 knots. As the Prophet recited the verses of these 2 surahs, which total 11 verses, 1 knot untied with each verse until the spell was completely broken. While the core hadith mentions knots, the specific sequence of 1 knot per verse is a detail found in the books of Tafsir and Seerah rather than the core Bukhari text. We arrive now at the final and perhaps most shocking part of the story. The spell is broken. The culprit is identified. The evidence is in hand. In any other kingdom, in any other era, Labid ibn al-Asam would be dragged into the public square and executed. The companions asked the Prophet, "Shall we not kill the evil one?" Or in other narrations, "Shall we not extract it publicly?" The Prophet's response is a masterclass in emotional intelligence and spiritual discipline. He said, "As for me, Allah has cured me. He refused to let them drag the items out to show the people. He refused to confront Labid. He refused to execute him. Why? He added, "I dislike to let evil spread among the people." He knew that making a public spectacle of black magic would only terrify the community. It would give the magician fame. It would make people paranoid, looking for knots and spells in every corner. He chose to bury the trauma, literally. The materials were destroyed and the well was eventually filled in. According to one narration, the Prophet never even mentioned it to Labid's face. He never showed anger towards him. He simply let it go.